Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, chief content producer and writer of Jake'sTake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. If you're watching us on YouTube, please give a thumbs up and please subscribe. If you're listening to this on any of our audio platforms, please, thank you so much. Please download this episode and more episodes, and also please give us a 5-star rating. I'm thrilled to welcome, not one, but 3 guests today. First of all, a very hearty welcome back to one of my dear favorites. He may have seen him on America's Got Talent. He's also a published author, Branden James. He's also joined by his husband, James Clark, who's a cellist, concert pianist, and arranger, and who has also played for the likes of Idina Menzel, Leah Salonga, and the late Olivia Newton-John. And they're joined by Effie Passero, who you might have seen on Fox and ABC's first 8 American Idol, and they also work on Postmodern Jukebox. But now, all 3 of them are going to be making their Carnegie Hall debut on Thursday, October 17th. Welcome, everybody.
Hello.
Yay! Hi.
Well, first of all, it's good. Thank you so much for having James. This is your first time. I think this is the first time. But however, Branden, this is your second go around with me podcast-wise.
Yes, I feel like at least once we've met in this juncture before. It's nice to be back on here. Thank you for having us.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. So before we get started, guys, Branden, this summer was a big summer milestone. 11 years since you auditioned for America's Got Talent. However, our last podcast was 2020. So how have you grown as a performer since we last spoke?
In so many ways, it took me, for having been a classically trained singer, there's so much about opera and classical music that's just like park and bark, and you just stand there, and it's all about delivering perfect vocal technique. And what I do now, dabbling in more popular music and classical crossovers, much more, staging and theatrics, and I feel like I'm a much more well-rounded performer than I ever was before. I just kind of loosened up, and when I started playing myself on stage as opposed to playing characters like I was doing for so long in opera, it really changed the whole way I approach performing. So I feel like I've grown a lot. I'm still not Fred Astaire, but I'm working on
it. I know you have feelings. So, Effie, this is your first time on the podcast. So, many of my audience remember you from your time on ABC's first season of American Idol. So, how did the Idol experience help you grow and prepare you to enter the music industry?
I think, alongside a lot of people who are on reality TV, that the show really helped wake me up and show me what my weaknesses were and show me where I could continue to grow and blossom as a musician. Usually I'm hidden behind a piano, but that show really gave me the confidence to be a front woman and have a personality on stage and not always depend on a piano to save me. And it also taught me how to connect with my audiences more and bring them into the experience as well. It was a really, really wonderful learning experience as well as hell at the same time because it's just so chaotic and it's not exactly what anyone ever expects, but it definitely changed my life for the better.
Absolutely it did, and it's amazing to see how you guys turn out. So as performers, you all have favorite venues. So before we get to the big one, what have been some of your favorite venues to perform, and why do they stand out?
Boys?
I think still my favorite venue to perform in, and actually to attend a concert, is the Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles, which I've performed there twice, I think, over the years. It's just such a special place to be outdoors and to see the views of the mountains in Los Angeles behind you, and there's something about like that big outdoor arena, but still having such great acoustic and sound quality. It's so massive, but it feels so intimate at the same time, and I really just love performing
there. James?
My favorite venue was the Staples Center, which was a very bizarre venue for the two of us, but it was center court of a LA Lakers game, and it was just to be flanked by those basketball players and then have all those thousands of people stand up while we performed the national anthem. That was pretty magical.
And I gotta say, you gotta be in a Lakers game. Like, there's a couple places that you need to be in. either Staples Center for the Lakers or Arrowhead Agia for my Chiefs. Those two areas, I think, arenas get everyone going. There's another level to them.
There's so much excitement in arenas for sure. I don't remember the name of it because I don't speak Hungarian, but the venue in Budapest was it was an arena and it was 10,000 people and it was with Postmodern Jukebox and it was sold out. So it was my first time performing with a band in a huge arena and it was such an electric experience because of the audience and they were singing along and they were all holding up their phones with their flashlights and it was just electric. It's definitely one of my most fond memories so far.
Awesome, and I gotta say this: it would be a treat to see all three of you do Hollywood Boulevard because I was watching when the Lion King had their 30th anniversary concert, and you had Jeremy Irons reprise Scar for the first time in 30 years, saying "Be prepared fully," and then of course the most emotional one was Lebo M performing "He Lives in You," and with all those dancers in the orchestra, and the LA Symphonic Orchestra backing them, it's just gave me chills.
Amazing. Let's manifest a Hollywood Bowl performance for the three of us.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm into it.
Done.
Alrighty, so I would love to learn about the origin story. So Branden and James, how did you first meet Effie?
We met Effie during the pandemic.
Strolling the streets of Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah, I just looked back through some old records to find out what day it was we decided to go down there. 2020 was such a dicey time for performers, and we literally spent 7-8 months inside doing virtual concerts and just kind of hanging on by a thread. And it was December 5th, 2020, when we decided to go down to Puerto Vallarta because we thought, winter's coming in New York. Let's be somewhere where we could be warm. We could be outside. It's mostly an outdoor culture, so we were safe outside. We could eat in restaurants and be on the beach. And
shows.
We thought maybe we could perform shows. And so we went down there then, and just maybe a week later, there was tons of other performers had the same idea, and we all went down there, and we walked into a show with Effie and Spencer Day, the wonderful top 40 Billboard jazz singer, who's been a friend of mine for more than 2 decades. So it was really nice to see them together and to hear her voice, and we just kind of, our jaws dropped open and never closed for the entire concert. And then she talked to us after the show, so we thought, well, I guess she's nice enough to talk to us, so we'll see what happens.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, you don't remember much, though. She
Too
likes
much
tequila.
tequila.
In Mexico.
No, I was gonna say I had a Craigslist ad out looking for new friends because I was so lonely. No, but no, so lonely. Yeah. To add on that, it was very kismet that we met, and it was such a dark time for a lot of people, and so many of us didn't think that music would ever resurge at all. And we started to hang out at their apartments and kind of doodle around on piano, have dinner together, and eventually we started doing the online concerts together, and it was just a very natural, organic friendship that was built. It was really, really cool.
And you guys eventually, now the pandemic's over, you eventually traveled across the world together and across the country together. So how did those international performances or national performances strengthen your bond?
I think when you're stuck in a car together for a certain amount of time, some of our drives would be 6, 7, 8, 9 hours to another state or another city. I think that alone really, really helps build bonds because you have to like each other to a degree. But
or you don't. Luckily, we did.
When you go into a supermarket together and get your stuff, or you go shopping on someone else's behalf, it kind of brings you together.
Yeah, it really does, and you get to know each other really well, maybe too well, and I think that part is a huge thing, but also the ins and outs of performing together in all these different theaters where we're not sure what we're walking into, and it's kind of like every day is a new escape room where we have to figure out certain problems or little quirky things that happen in the day, and we do it as a team, always.
That's amazing to hear, and I gotta say this, Branden and James, they're really phenomenal. You guys are really phenomenal people, incredible role models, especially for a lot of people in the LGBTQ community.
Mhm.
So you have learned from the best, I think.
Yeah. Or maybe they're learning from me. I don't know. Come on.
There's
learning in all ways, all directions in this trio.
All right. So speaking of trio, there is you guys have an announcement. That's the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar exclusive. Because on social media, you guys have formed a new trio called CelloVoci. So could you describe CelloVoci's origin story to my audience?
Well, it really was born out of the virtual concerts that Effie was talking about. We were performing live in a theater at the time, a cabaret venue that it's very fond to both of us. But just like the rest of the world, we got shut down. So then we had to move things virtually into our apartment in Mexico. And when we started performing together, it's just our musical instincts were very similar, our musical tastes, our voices blend so well together. We both decided we could tolerate James.
I don't know. Jury's still out for me. I'm not sure.
Girls, it's not too late for me to sabotage our showcase.
So when we got back to live performing, we still had this desire to work with each other. So we decided to keep working together. And at first we went on tour around the United States, mostly in the Midwest, but also a lot on the East Coast, West Coast, as Branden and James with special guest Effie Passero, and that was great. But for those people who are out there who might not know who we are, who Effie is, we wanted to kind of find a group name that would define what we do and who we are, which we believe is a little bit sophisticated, being that it's classical crossover, but also tell audiences in one word or two what they might be getting as a musical act. So that's how we came up with CelloVoci.
Yeah, because voci is, with the I, is a plural for voices in Italian. So you got the Italian word for cello is an Italian word already. So cello and voices, and then you kind of start to understand a little bit about what you're going to get when you hear us perform.
Amazing. That's amazing. And I cannot wait to hear this. In addition to this, you guys have, to launch CelloVoci, you have a new music coming out. So can you describe how it was like going into the recording studio together as a trio?
Over to you, Effie.
I think it was a really excellent showcase of how each of us brings something different to the table, because James and Branden are so organized, and I am kind of like the little squirrel of the group. So it was a really good beginning. I would walk into the studio and they would know exactly what we were doing, how we were going to do it. And it really helped ease my nerves. I'm a really bad recording artist. I get all in my head and everything. But with the boys, it was so natural and so easy and comforting. I didn't feel nerve-wracked at all to work with them. And the music really just flowed. Everything that I wanted from this project is definitely reflected in the end result. So I'm just so grateful.
That's amazing to hear. That's amazing. And I got to say this, CelloVoci's first test is probably like a master's, is like the university's master thesis defending it. It's at one of the biggest stages of the world, Carnegie Hall.
Yay!
Yes, talk about trial by fire. We just decided just to go right to the top and see how we'll fare.
Yeah.
But we're pretty well prepared. I think we can do it. Obviously, CelloVoci is kind of a rebrand for what we have been doing over the last 2.5, 3 years, off and on. But it's also a commitment from the three of us to take this a step further and really see how we might blossom together as musicians.
Yeah.
And as the feedback, just to let you guys know, I've been following you on social media. When I've been hearing these numbers and looking onto the website for Carnegie Hall and seeing low tickets available, that's something, because I'm excited for free. I will be going to New York seeing you guys for the concert this week.
Yay!
That's
You're
awesome.
coming. Wow, how exciting. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then also, I got to say this this is a testament because with this this trio, that you guys are well-known performers and you guys are able to introduce your newest chapter of your careers at one of the world's biggest stages.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I feel I keep saying to everyone that I'm equally parts terrified and excited, but I'm not really terrified at all. I'm just very excited. We have a lot of, like, my family's coming from Australia for it. Their families are coming from California. We have people coming from Mexico and Canada and the UK, and it's just going to be, I know there's going to be a ton of love in the room, so mostly I just can't wait for how fun it's going to be. And we've written these really beautiful arrangements there'll be 10 of us performing on stage, including a string quartet and guitar and bass and piano. It's going to be really, really special, I think. I just kind of can't wait.
There's going to be quite the energy in the room. I don't know if the Carnegie Hall employees are ready for probably the roarous and the ruckus. Like, there's going to be a lot of ruckus, I think, because people are going to be equally as excited for us as we are for the whole evening. I'm not terrified at all. I'm more scared that I'm going to cry, which, as the boys know, sometimes I cry when we sing together because I just get overwhelmed by love.
I feel like the evening's going to be like
I'm sure it'll be during one of the big numbers towards the end. I'll just be a mess, but it's okay.
It's good. It's real emotion. I feel like the evening is going to be this big musical Care Bear stare of like energy shooting out of our furry bellies.
Oh my god!
It's so true. Most of the people there really are coming because they know us and love us already, and we know them and love them. So it will be a lot of that, and then we'll see some surprise faces that we weren't maybe expecting.
Like you, I didn't know you were coming. That's cool.
Thank you. I'm excited because the thing is, when I saw that, I'm like, thank goodness this is on my grit trip, and I'm like, thank goodness, because this was seeing you got Branden and James. I've seen you perform twice. Once at 54 Below, and the other at the Green Room in New York. But this is going to elevate you guys to another level of excellence.
Yeah.
We are certainly hoping so. You know, it's no secret that in New York, as cabaret artists, it's actually quite hard to get people to come to your shows, even in the smaller venues. The venues are kind of a revolving door. They have sometimes 3 shows a night, 7 days a week. So there's a lot of shows that they have to promote. And then, unless you're Patty the Poem playing 8 nights, you don't really get a mention. So it's always been a struggle for us to kind of fill New York City venues. So to be on the precipice of a sold out night at Carnegie Hall is really, really special to us.
Yeah. This is my first time performing in New York City, honestly. So, I mean, to say that my very first performance in New York City is with Branden and James to a sold out room is going to be quite the honor. So humbling.
It's all downhill from there, babe.
I know. I was trying not to say it, but I'm glad you said it first.
But here's the thing. It could go bigger, and I got to say this. Have you guys thought, can you tease the show Happy Days Are Here Again? Like, how did that show come about?
It kind of came about because we recorded this album earlier this year together that is also called Happy Days. And we are all kind of optimistic, positive people, and we like to kind of instill that and share that with the world and kind of try to champion that for other people. So it seemed like the right kind of vibe for the kind of show that we're going to put on, which also is kind of all over the place. It's everything from some Broadway tunes to covers of pop and rock and mashups of classical and rock tunes. And so, yeah, it just seemed like the right fit. And also, we're performing many of the songs that are on our album, and so it just seemed to tie it all together quite nicely.
Yeah, it'll kind of serve like an album release party in so many ways, because so many things that you'll hear live are on the album. But I think really, like, Happy Days Are Here Again, the 3 of us, we've been called the 3 Stooges on stage together, because we're always just joking and laughing and making funny things. And when we were on tour in the Midwest, we'd like drive 50 miles out of the way to see the world's largest ball of yarn or the Jolly Green Giant. Those are just stupid things that we would do because we're just silly people. So I think, like, you know, love and happiness is an overarching theme of the 3 of us and our connection together. So that's kind of why we went with Happy Days. And of course, the iconic Judy Garland Barbra Streisand duet "Happy Days Get Happy" will make an appearance in the set list.
Absolutely, and I'm also thinking about the time that when I heard "Happy Days Here Again," I immediately jumped to like one of my favorite memories of pop culture was Debbie Reynolds and Carrie Fisher performing that song on Oprah.
Yeah,
that was another powerful duo.
Oh, bless those two.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, have you guys thought of CelloVoci's dream collaborators, the singers, the songwriters, the producers, and the musicians, and how to record with in the future or to perform with? And how would they enhance your sound?
If David Foster's listening to this and wants to write us a hit song and also help produce us an album, that'd be freaking awesome.
I agree. I think David Foster would be the best one. I guess whoever writes for Andrea Bocelli. That's not David Foster. Because we could do with some good Andrea sounding stuff. But who else? I'm not sure. Maybe
I'd love to see a Diane Warren song for you guys. I would love to see you guys interpret what Diane Warren writes.
Oh yeah. That would be an interesting combination for sure. Does she write for classical contemporary?
Well, she did with Celine and with Toni Braxton.
Oh, duh. Yeah, Celine. So, thank you so much.
And then
it looks like Effie's thousands of miles away, but she's just in the next room. And
I need a laptop charger.
A little laptop charger.
But guys, don't worry, guys. This is what That has not been done before. James, that has not done before. I'm leaving this in because, guys, just let you know.
He's a shapeshifter.
Podcast. James
was
a Nightcrawler. And then when
Nightcrawler. Come on, X-Men. Yes.
And like just appeared, and that was just brilliant.
Oh my gosh.
And I've been in my 5 years of doing a podcast, I have never seen anyone do that. So.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh.
So while we were talking about Diane Warren, I also got to say this. Another one I was thinking about is like maybe Michael Bolton.
Ooh. That would be fun.
That would be fun. Does he write songs?
He does, I believe.
Oh.
Who's the other one? Barry Manilow.
Yeah, Mandel as well would be great.
Yeah, we could do some really good stuff with Barry Manilow's music.
Oh, I would love to hear what Bernie Taupin would do with you guys.
Elton John's lyricist? Yeah. That combination would be golden.
He could write us a duet with Dua Lipa.
Oh yeah. Or maybe an Elton one, or maybe one of the Eltons one, because Orville did a wonderful job with Orville earlier this year when he did Silent.
Okay. These are good things to think about.
If you want to see, I have another one for you guys. While we're on the subject of Orville Peck, if you wanted to take the world upside down, maybe a session with Orville Peck would probably be great.
That would be interesting.
I would love
to. I mean, that's kind of what I was saying, like a bass. So we have tenor, soprano, and then like he's got that nice, smooth bass sound. Oh my gosh, his voice.
Yeah. Or maybe that cover of Born This Way, because I still say that was his cover that he did on Born This Way for Gaga's 10th anniversary of Born This Way album. That would, if you guys did that, oh my God, that would be. My goosebumps would have goosebumps.
Oh, I'll have to listen to that. I haven't heard that.
I need to listen to that too.
You're sparking some creative ideas in us, Jacob. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Yeah. You're so welcome. So we got to start winding down our conversation, guys. So what are some of the best ways that fans best social media platforms that you like to interact with the fans?
So we just launched all of our social media platforms just this week, actually, which is very exciting. People can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at CelloVoci. So that's CelloVoci, CelloVoci, on Instagram and Facebook.
And they can find a lot more stuff about us on our blossoming web page called CelloVoci.com. They can find some of our upcoming dates together, as well as information about our latest releases. We're releasing our first single, The Prayer, the lead single from our album together.
September 27th.
Thank you.
Just around the corner.
And they can also pre-save the full album, which comes out October 11th. All at CelloVoci.com.
Awesome.
Yes.
And you still have, and guys, you also have your individual accounts as well on social as well, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we're Branden and James. If you just Google us, or Branden J Music, and Effie Passero, I think it's just at Effie Passero.
Yep, just my name.
Awesome, guys. So, awesome. So, if you miss an episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, visit our channels on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, Spotify, and Spreaker. Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOB ELYACHAR. Now, are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Jacob Elyachar, JACOB ELYACHAR. And guys, want to see my past interviews of Branden and James, and also not to mention my reviews of their shows, and not to mention what I thought about Branden on AGT, visit the blog that started it all, jakes-shake.com. Once again, jakes-shake.com. Guys, it was a pleasure to have you. James, I'm so happy that you made your debut. Branden, and an honor to have you on my 5th anniversary season. And Effie, it was so nice to meet you. And I'm so excited for CelloVoci.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jacob.
Thanks for having us. We'll see you next
Thank
month.
you.
We're so excited.
Absolutely. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, have a great one, everybody. Goodbye.